Well, we have no Patreon loading. This is classic Missing Wolves unprepared live stream, even though I had more than enough time to prepare for it. But thank you to our Patreon members. That is normally the thank you sign that comes up as we are starting a live stream. It is not wanting to work with StreamYard today, probably because StreamYard has all sorts of spooky, there it is. Thank you to all our Patreons. All sorts of spooky, fun little Halloween pack and backgrounds that we are not going to use. I'm your host, Andrew. This is the Missing Wolves post-game live stream. And we have Will Eudy with us from the Charlotte Hornets beat from Fansided. How's it going, Will?
Good, man. It's good to be here. Still at the arena. But, yeah, we're going to talk about this game. So glad to be here again, man. Thanks for having me.
100%, always. For people that don't know, Will, you used to cover some stuff for the Wolves as well, right?
I did. So there was a period with Fansided where I was pretty heavily covering the Wolves over on Dunking with Wolves, writing a lot of content over there. I'm still putting up some stuff on there occasionally, but pretty much just covering Fansided's broader needs right now. That being said, I do have a bit of knowledge up in my head about the Timberwolves from, let's say, 2022 up until pretty recently. So I'd like to think I know a little bit of what I'm talking about.
Well, and Cole at the arena with you, apparently. He's just leaving it. And I guess that's what we'll just start with. I mean, for people that have been locked in with the Wolves, for fans, I wrote a piece that came out this morning of the Wolves defense, even with Rudy Gobert, is not ideal. And when Rudy doesn't play, they have a 139 defensive rating, which is apocalyptically bad, I would say. I mean, if you extrapolate that out for an entire season, that would be the worst defensive rating in the history of the NBA since they have started tracking that stat. And that's how they play without Rudy. I mean, in the arena tonight, Will, what did you kind of see from the Wolves defense, especially given the Hornets have been a pretty good offensive team this year?
Yeah, I think they were pretty locked in, especially in the second half. They really took advantage of the Hornets missing LaMelo for a large part of the second half and then having to kind of figure things out on the fly. It kind of went right off of what Chris Finch said in pregame when he said, they've been waiting too long to play the defense they know they can play. And maybe you could argue, they did that again tonight, but it ended up working out in their favor. I think that, again, with the Charlotte piece, I mean, these guys were not able to figure it out as they went along. You have Colin Sexton as the secondary ball handler, and you have some rookie guys trying to make things happen. Ryan Kalkbrenner is great. Rudy Gobert is better. A lot of things happened.
Yeah, I kind of shared the same thought you had. Is just the first quarter, it looked like it was going to be another Wolves game where Miles Bridges is just going off. It seemed like LaMelo is getting penetration and just missing shots at times. And then the second quarter and third quarter happened, and it seemed like the Wolves just locked it in and decided to put it away. What is there any kind of update on LaMelo? Is he doing okay? I mean, we had Dante, break his nose and come back today, but I think LaMelo got a little overshadowed because he did miss, the majority of that third quarter.
Yeah, we don't have a formal update on that. There's been no update from the team, but he clearly wasn't himself in the second half. They're holding him out at the end of the fourth quarter where they're within single digits and something clearly could happen. So it was obviously an intentional decision. And I think, especially with a back-to-back for the Hornets tomorrow, I think they figured to save his body. I would doubt he plays tomorrow. My thought is that they came in saying, hey, we'll have more of a chance today to win this game if he plays. Whereas tomorrow, you probably think you can get by against Utah without him, potentially. So no update, but doesn't seem promising.
And LaMelo, that's kind of been his, unfortunately, that's been the story of his career, is just injury after injury after injury. I joke with Wolves fans all the time because, James Wiseman was on the Pacers when they came to town earlier this year, then promptly got cut. So hopefully James Wiseman's doing okay. But there's a parallel universe where it's James Wiseman and Cat, or the Wolves are kind of in this LaMelo territory where he's injured for big stretches of every year. But instead they have Ant, who is really kind of missing his first ever time for injuries. What did you make of kind of the Julius Randle focused offense that the Wolves really came in here to I mean, really, since Ant has gone down, it has been Julius and Jaden are really the two guys that they're running everything out of.
Yeah, no, I thought it was, in the end, very successful, right? I think that Randall's physicality is obviously a big component of his game. And I think the Timberwolves really won the game with physicality tonight, especially in the second half. It was very much a tale of two halves, but I think kind of like Finch said in pregame about their defense, like they just kind of remembered, hey, we're bigger and stronger. We're the bigger and stronger team. And Randall was a big part of that. His usual strong scoring and playmaking chops were on display. And, it was kind of him and Miles were the two biggest scorers in the game going back and forth. But obviously he was a big catalyst of what Minnesota did, as always.
Is there, and again, I apologize in advance because I have not kept full tabs on the Charlotte Hornets other than just like binge looking at stats and watching some stuff this morning in prep for the game. But, how has their defense been faring this season? Have they been kind of holding up, or is it kind of the same old Hornets where it's more of a track meet?
I think they were figuring some things out from the start. But, if you look at the numbers, right, they've been giving up a good amount of points per game, right? And I think that what they talked about in postgame, of course, was more physicality, right? Not only on defense, but on offense as well. They talked about, I think what happened in the first half was the shots were falling, especially for Miles. And then you get to the second half and, when those shots are falling, I think that the guys can get a little bit comfy and get a little bit out of rhythm, right? So it's about kind of maintaining that overall offensive focus. When shots are falling, you don't get comfortable. And touching the paint, making sure you get paint touches offensively. And then that, bleeds over into the defensive side where, you're discombobulated. You're still trying to figure things out. You're not completely focused, as what the guys kind of talked about in postgame. So I think it's still a work in progress. I think there is a blueprint where they can become a positive defensive team, but it's safe to say it's not there yet.
It's interesting that you mentioned the Miles Bridges kind of going off, messing with other people's rhythms, because that's something the Wolves last year talked a lot about with Julius in particular, of like when Julius has a really big first quarter or Ant has a really big first quarter, it kind of throws everybody off because they just, assume that that's going to carry on or they're not getting touches. And then it bleeds over into the defense, which, we'll talk about the Rudy Gobert of it all now. He is a guy that when he is getting touches on offense, when he is being valued on offense, his defense really kind of rises to another level. And I think today was probably the first time this season where they consistently kept going to him even through the blunders. I guess what was your kind of reaction to Rudy Gobert's game, especially as, like you mentioned, the Hornets are kind of running out a smaller, younger team out there?
Yeah, again, I think that just his physicality was a massive factor. He finished with 15 rebounds, 14 points. I think he shot 6 for 9. So he was getting the looks he wanted, and then on top of that, he was dishing. He had 5 assists too. I think it was a situation where Moussa Diabate is helping over onto him, so he can't take the little hook shot, but then he's just dishing it out. I think he made the right play all night long. And then, like I said, with the rebounding thing, there were so many possessions where it didn't matter what the Hornets did because he was just the biggest guy on the floor, and he was grabbing the rebound. He was getting the putback. He had that insane and one dunk. I still don't know how that ball went in. No, he was fantastic tonight.
CD mentions here in the chat too, Naz Reid looked like Naz Reid, which, I think everyone in Minnesota has been giving him a pass after the tragedy that happened with his family over the summer. But, he really did look good. I do have to ask, what was that 360 lob like watching it in person? Because that was one of the most unsurprising Jaden and Naz moments I've seen so far covering this team.
That was a wild one. It was impressive in person, and then I went and watched the replay, and I said I think it was more impressive. No, but those quick bursts from Nas with just spotting up from three. Same with Dante, and it's coming back after a broken nose too, and doing that. I mean, the guy didn't miss a beat. Both of those guys just reminding us how lethal they are from beyond the arc. And yeah, those short little stretches just kill the Hornets because it's like those possessions where they have the game within reach, but a small defensive mistake here and there, and okay, you left Nas Reed open, you left Dante DiVincenzo open. Now you're down by 12. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, this is again when we're looking at Chris Finch's offense, and the offense hasn't been the issue so far this season, to be honest. But like, this is what he's envisioning, right? Is Ant, Julius being the primary guys, and then just shooters everywhere. Rudy as a lob threat, and just kind of playing with more pace. Unfortunate Ant isn't playing, but you mentioned Dante. I want to get your thoughts on him too, because I don't know if they showed his face in the arena, but like that was like a super broken nose.
Oh, I did see the picture. It was a very broken nose, not a pretty sight. And then to come right back in, I don't know what they did to fix him up, but he clearly went to the locker room, came back, and he looked more than fine to me. Yeah. When he went down, we didn't know what happened, but we saw the blood all over his shirt, and we said, "Oh, he's probably out for the game." Maybe I don't know what happened, but I think they fixed the nose.
Yeah, I've seen some wild acts of toughness in person. The one that took the cake before Dante was Dejanay Carrington losing a contact for the Lynx. It fell on the court, and she just grabbed it off the court and popped it back in her eye. No solution, nothing. That was probably the most insane thing. Dante took that title today, though. I mean, he like the front of his nose looked like it was bleeding, and they just put a bunch of Vaseline on it. It was crooked. Like I don't know how you shoot with that going on, which he was shooting. He was making shots in the fourth quarter too. So credit to Dante, I guess. I mean, have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, that was just wild.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that I have. Like you said, in terms of the toughness factor, it's up there. I mean, that nose had to have been hurting like I don't even know what. And then, yeah, I mean, he's shooting threes, knocking down shots down the stretch. I mean, acted like it didn't even happen, but I know he's sitting there probably in a massive amount of pain the whole time.
Yeah, I have thankfully never broken my nose. Doesn't look fun. Doesn't sound fun. Cole adds he was on the sideline laughing with Ant. Yeah, Dante is just, I mean, between fighting Pistons in the first row last year and this game, like he might get to folklore status in Minnesota. Will, I'm going to throw us over to an ad here, and then CD mentioned Rob Dillingham. I know you did a piece on him last year, if I remember right, and he's a Carolina native. Love to get your thoughts on him, but first I have to run ads because sponsors are important. So let's get into them. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. All right, well, let's talk about Rob Dillingham. I mean, I guess I'll just keep it blank or kind of open-ended at the first of just what has your impression been of Rob's career so far? Because it's been winding, I would say, would be my adjective.
I think that's a pretty good one. I mean, I think most, if not all, Wolves fans would want to push for more playing time for him. I think that's like the near unanimous thing I have seen is that everybody wants him to have more opportunity. I think Finch has been giving him a little bit more opportunity from what I've seen, just a little bit. And there's been some growth, I think. I think that he's been, like, you saw him set up some guys tonight with some nice passes. I think that, he's not a top tier defender, but I think he's trying hard. I think he's hustling on defense. It's not like for a lack of trying, right? It's not a lack of putting your effort out there. There may be, lack of physical tools, but that's a different thing. So I think that overall, like, he's probably right about where he needs to be right now. I know people aren't going to like me saying that. They're going to say, he should be further along, whatever. That's fine. I think that he's in a fine position to succeed. I mean, obviously, there's a needed point guard like that. That is clear when it comes to this Wolves roster. And I think that, maybe he's still a few months away from being able to be a consistent, like 25, 20 minutes per game contributor guy. But I think he's on the way, and maybe he doesn't get there this season, but I think that he is, making steps toward that. And I think these little moments like we saw tonight is just like, what's the analogy I'm looking for? I'm thinking of. I mean,
they're the breadcrumbs, right? They're the treasure tracks that are marking to the X of like, this is what the guy could be, which, I mean, you're 100% right. His defense, like, he tries, which is regular season defense. If you can get a guy that tries, that's usually a pretty good thing. But I mean, what did you kind of feel? I mean, different this year as opposed to last year when he was in Charlotte.
Yeah, I think last year, maybe it looked more so just like, he's happy to be there kind of thing, if that makes sense. I'm not going to put words in the guy's mouth, but, I think that we're seeing more fight from him right now, right? I think that he's kind of recognizing, hey, I have to give my full effort to earn my spot in this rotation and be a guy who helps this team win. I think we're seeing more of that, right? And I'm not going to say he didn't care last year, but I think that it's just showing up more in his, like, output, if that makes sense.
No, it does, because I think last year was such a, like, I think if you asked him it, like, he'd be pretty honest about it, of just like last year was kind of overwhelming for him. So he was happy to be there, like kind of in shock most of the year. And then, when he did get playing time, he kind of struggled with the same things that he's always struggled with: turnovers, small, bad reads, things like that. And this year, he's still struggling with those things. I mean, that first turnover he had where it's just picked off at half court, his second turnover where he's, just picked off on an ill-advised, like, pocket pass, like, both of those are still things. But, last year we were seeing 2 turnovers in 7 minutes, and this year it's 2 turnovers in 14, 15. So it's progress. Will, I'm going to let you go here soon, but first over on X here asks, any steam on LaMelo to Mini? Anything you've been hearing at all? A lot of fans are looking for a new point guard. Ja just got benched for mouthing off to his coach. LaMelo, he's I would imagine he's not on the trading block, but anything you've been hearing?
Man, there's a lot of talk about that kind of stuff, isn't there? And especially with the Ja stuff. That's been a hot topic the last 24 hours. People love their LaMelo Ball rumors, don't they?
He is the only rookie that I can remember being immediately in trade rumors like a month after he got drafted.
Well, I think the Laker fans wanted him in LA for obvious reasons from day one. But no, man, I think, like, with LaMelo, I think that this coaching staff and the organization really just still wants to lean on him as their cornerstone, as, like, we still believe we can win with this guy. I think what the offseason was them setting up more of a roster that really fit him and his abilities, and, get Colin Sexton to play off of him and be like a secondary ball handler that can initiate and can do a lot of scoring when he's out of the game. There's still the injury piece, man. The injuries are still a trouble. That's an unfortunate thing, but This is a brand new medical staff here too, so we're going to see how that plays out in the long term. But I've written several times about how I think this roster is set up to complement him. I think better than at any point in his career so far. And so certain things are going to have to still come together, right? But I think that there's still a way where the Hornets become, right, an actual playoff contender, an actual winner with him as their guy. And there's a lot of skepticism about that, but we'll see.
That's all we can do. I mean, this is up here in Minnesota. We talk about year 6 for Jaden and Ant all the time of like, this is the year where you start to see that like jump of like, they took the limitless pills and their irises are tightening up and like they're doing great. Like, it's kind of the same thing for LaMelo. Like, if he's healthy, this should be the year for you guys that you're really seeing him take that next step, which, I mean, as an observer from afar, he has all of the talent in the world. I mean, it's just keeping him on the court. I'm adding another question in, but this one's more of a selfish one. What's kind of the outlook you have for the Hornets this year? I mean, the East seems wide open. Do you feel like they're going to be one of those teams kind of at the end of the year in that 5-6 spot, or do you feel like they're more of a play-in or punt on the season, get another draft pick type of team?
Man, I mean, things change so fast, right? Like 2 weeks into the season now, or I guess like 10 days into the season.
Yeah.
Now Trae Young is going to be sidelined for another month. You've got that to think about when you consider the East standings. That's going to set the Hawks back a little bit. That's just the latest thing I'm thinking about, right? But I think before that, no, I was already thinking before the season, this team could absolutely finish 5th or 6th in the East in a wide open Eastern Conference. I think with the roster this team has assembled, they are much more built to sustain the lulls when LaMelo or Brandon Miller has to miss time. Now, that being said, 2-4 start, not great. But no, I think LaMelo is still, this team's guy, and I think that there's some little small tweaks he can make. I think tonight we saw him get to the free throw line in the 4th quarter for the first time in 9 quarters. That's kind of crazy when you consider.
Yeah.
We had a question asked of Charles Lee in the postgame. Why do you think that is? Charles did not want to comment on that one. But, it's amazing.
Probably a safe dodge.
Definitely a wise decision. But I watched this guy take these hits and really just get clobbered. And it's kind of amazing to me. He doesn't get the calls that a lot of players of his caliber would. So I think that there are times where he can take a smarter decision on offense. He can do some better things on defense, whatever you want to say. But no, I think that this Hornets team can still be a winner. I mean, I know that it's another slow start to the season, and the fans are already seeing missed opportunities. But I think that it's a long season, and there's the chance for them to do that.
I kind of feel the same, especially in the East. Like at some point, the Brooklyns, the maybe even Miami, if things don't go well. Like some of these teams are just going to start fielding not NBA rosters. And if the Hornets want to make the playoffs, like there are going to be wins for them to just scoop up. I also love Brandon Miller. Like I really think he's going to, like, I hope he is something at some point because he just seems like a good dude and I root for good dudes. So I'm glad you brought him up too, because I feel like they have the pieces. It's just, I'm sure with the Hornets at some point this season too, they'll be faced with the reality that a lot of these East teams are going to be faced with of like, we could go 32-50 and make the playoffs, or we could go 28-54 and have a lottery pick. That's a tough decision for a lot of these teams, which I hope the Hornets are a little bit better than that for your sake, the organization's sake. But like, man, those play-in spots are going to be, they might be pretty bad.
I think everybody around here remembers the last 2 times this team went to the play-in, and they don't want to remember those things. So top 6 is definitely a priority for sure. It's going to take a lot, but yeah, like you said, I think Brandon Miller, for example, having him out there tonight would have changed everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's little things like that where it's like you miss one guy and a lot can change.
For sure. Well, Will, I appreciate you coming on, man. We'll have you on again at some point. I know Charlotte's coming to Minnesota at some point. Are you traveling up here for it, or are you going to be staying in?
I think that's still going to be a game time decision for me.
Okay.
They are coming up to Minnesota last week of the season, I believe, in April. So we'll have to see. Stay tuned for that one, but I would love to come back. You guys were very good to me last time.
Well, hey, if you're back, you're back. We'll get you a beer. If not, we'll still chat with you at some point. Will, appreciate you coming on. I do want to give you the space, though. Anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out, where can people find you? Any specific things you're working on that you're proud of? Everyone gets space on this pod.
Yeah, if you guys can go follow me on X at Will C Eudy. Spelling for that should be somewhere. All my work is at Fansided. You can check me out on there. Also, my Substack, where I write some more human interest stories. You can look that up. That's called the Eudy Report over on Substack. Links to it in my social media. And then after that, I think that's all I have for you.
I mean, I will just say for Wolves fans that are in here, Will puts up very similar content to what I do. I mean, practice stuff, player interview stuff. Like, if you're interested in LaMelo and seeing behind the scenes stuff, Will's an awesome follow. So that's my endorsement. I like people. I mean, you put up the stuff that I like to put up, so I like to follow you. Gives you a little bit of a temperature on other teams in the league. So, Will, I appreciate you coming on, man, and we will be back live after the Brooklyn game.